Okay, I'm recording on my computer.
Then shall I leave the people in?
Yeah, actually, did you send that email or we didn't have time for that? Okay.
And you
So,
guys see my screen, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
And I let the people in.
Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Great to have you here. Hello, Ben. Hello, Squiggles. Hello, Zoe. Great to have you here. Again, if you want to type in the chat where you are from, we're going to get started here in just a moment.
The
And
live
you'll let me know. Let
sharing.
me know when we're live.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We will be live shortly here. We're getting a little background noise, Elena, from it looks like, yeah, there we go. Perfect. And we're going to get started here momentarily.
It says setting up your Facebook Live.
All right. I'm going to jump in here shortly. Then we have Ben from Pennsylvania. We have Squiggles from Sussex, UK. Welcome, welcome. Again, one of the things I love about the community is that we are literally all over the world, which is amazing. All right. Are we streaming yet? And Zoe from Sedona, Arizona.
yeah, I'm
Welcome,
just
welcome.
letting you know we had some problems with the emails. So probably not all the people have the Zoom link, but anyways, we're recording that. So it will
Great.
be on our YouTube channel as well.
Perfect. Perfect.
No, everybody has the link, but it was sent like 2 days ago, and usually we send today also a reminder. So actually, the reminder has not been sent. Otherwise, everybody
Great.
knows about the webinar, the topic, and they have the link. But
Great.
as we know, we are receiving tons of emails, so that's why we're sending the reminder as well.
Great. Great.
Well, this with
Oh,
the Facebook Live can drag for, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 minutes. So if you want, we can just start and
okay.
and
And then
the,
it'll
the
just pick it
live
up
will
wherever we
start
are.
when it starts. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Fabulous. All right. Beautiful. All right. Well, hello, hello, and welcome everyone to the International Human Design Festival and Immersion Voices of the Festival. My name is Karen Sherwood, and I am your host. And today we are going to be exploring the family field, understanding dynamics within the family Penta. So that is what we are going to be exploring today. So with that, I would like to just kind of introduce what our topic is all about. And one of the things I love about human design is it actually gives us a way to explore life from every angle. We've taken a look at health and money and intimacy and business, and especially relationships. And day one of the online festival is all about relationships. It's about relationships as well as individuality and how to remain ourselves as we connect with others. And one of the most complex relationships is the area of our family. This is one of the arenas that is often the most complex to navigate is our family dynamics. And as we move towards 2027 and our ability to relate with others, it is going to be more and more important to see how we can relate with others without losing ourselves. This becomes even more and more essential. And we're in the holidays, and the holidays have a tendency to bring family dynamics to the surface and making them very visible as well. So when families gather, right, we get our old roles return, we have expectations that surface, and we have this familiar dynamic that quietly takes over, often before we even realize it. So, this is where understanding the family field and the family dynamics by design can also help. So, families aren't just a collection of individuals, it's an energetic field, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. They are an energetic field with their own mechanics and pressures and roles. And when we understand, in a sense, the built in family dynamics, we stop personalizing what's happening and we start seeing the larger mechanics at play, if you will. So, today, in this Voices of the Festival conversation, we're going to explore the family field. So, offering insights into why family dynamics feel the way they do and how to stay grounded and sovereign and more fully yourself while being with others, especially during these holiday times. So today I am delighted to introduce our two amazing guests, Elena I'm Bondarchuk, I think that Bondarchuk, and Sabina Abreo. So welcome, welcome. It is so great to have each of you here today. And first of all, I want to introduce both of our speakers, and then I'm going to introduce our organizers for the festival as well. So first of all, starting with Elena, she is deeply connected to languages as a translator, which I think is amazing, especially in understanding individuals and people. And this creates really a window for her to learn about others. And she is deeply, deeply immersed in human design. You are your background in human design and what you've studied in human design, everything from family dynamics, which we're going to be talking about today, to also business dynamics and variable and all of the basics as well is incredible. I'd love, Elena, if you could just say just a quick hello.
Hello, Karen and everyone. I'm glad to be here and I'm honored to be present here for the second time and explore the next topic, the family Penta. And I have briefly touched it last year when I was presenting the rave sociology because Penta is a construct that we can find both in a BG5 world, we can find it in a family world. After all, we start our lives in family, and also we can find it in rave sociology world. So yes, I would be glad to explore this topic together with you and with my co-speaker Sabina. And it's an important one to focus our attention, especially at this time of the year.
Yes, beautiful. Well, it's great to have you back and it's great to have you here. So, welcome, welcome. And then I'd also love to introduce Sabina. And Sabina, she has a background in hotel management and has also been a corporate photographer, really capturing the essence of an individual. And it became more obvious in diving into human design. And again, Sabina, your list of what you have accomplished as far as your studies, everything from again family penta to BG5 and profit potential to the basics in living your design and being a your design guide as well. And again, both of you have really extensive knowledge of human design. And Sabina, I would love for you to just say a few words as well, just to welcome you.
Mhm. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. And of course, just before this session started, I was going as a starstruck fangirling with Karen. So it's a really, fun privilege today to have this. A little bit about myself, and just a heads up that Elena has also been one of my, classmates and we have done projects together, and it is such a wonderful thing of being here together with her. For me, being a family practitioner, it wasn't an easy step, and it brings me joy because with a background of, as you mentioned, outside of human design, being a photographer, not just corporate, by the way, I used to do like weddings, families, and lots of everything in the portrait realm, except for pet portraits, by the way. So, seeing that thing, what I saw on an image, and looking at that mechanical thing during my studies has brought a kind of lifting of the veil for me, which makes it so much more interesting, as especially as a projector who's trying to know about the others and how everything else operates. So that's a brief shout out from me. Hey.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Sabina. And again, I am so honored to hear from both of you today around the family Penta. And before we jump in, I also want to introduce and hear from our incredible event organizers. They have really truly put their heart and soul into making this entire festival transformational, exciting, and a one of a kind experience for each and every one of you. So let me introduce Veronica and Lucretia, and I would love for both of you just to say a few words before we get started with today's topic. Yes, Veronica, let's start with you.
Well, hello everybody, and it's such a privilege to have here, I would say, my two favorite projectors, Elena and Sabina. You guys are so humble and with such great sense of humor, and you have so much to share. So really lovely to have you. And you guys, if you resonate with what you hear today, we would love to have you join the International Human Design Festival online, or if you can make it live in Sofia, would be even better. So welcome, welcome.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Veronica and Lucretia.
Hello, everybody. I'm always happy to be here, always happy to be with my amazing colleagues, talking about something that really inspires me for the last 15 years, like nonstop, human design, and since 2 years already with the BG5 as well and profit potential. I'm loving it. And yes, this topic actually is really very interesting to me, the family Penta, because I'm one of those people who, when under one roof with the relatives, can start a conflict in a fraction of a second out of nothing. So I'm really looking forward for some insights and yeah, new perspectives and new understanding, so that these fireworks doesn't happen that much often or disappear altogether. So I'm very excited. Thank you. Very happy to have Sabina and Elena here, the profis.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you again, Veronica and Lucretia, for all the work that you're putting into the festival. It is going to be an incredible experience. So I encourage all of you to sign up and join us because it is going to be amazing. So, as we start today's conversation, for those of you who are live in our Zoom room, please feel free to ask questions or comment in the chat as we go along, and we will open it up to questions. And if any of you that are here live in our Zoom room are also experts in Family Penta, we would love to hear your take as well. So let's dive into the conversation. So to start, I would love to hear from both Elena and Sabina. Can you share a little bit about what this family dynamics are, what the family penta is all about, and how understanding this information has helped you personally to navigate family dynamics? So some people may not be even aware that you can look at human design from the family perspective. So again, what is the family penta and how has understanding this information helped you personally navigate your own family dynamics? And let's start with Elena.
Okay, so When we talk about Penta, we talk about the auric construct from 3 to 5 people. It means that if 3 to 5 people gather together physically in a physical auric space, they already create this energetic field of Penta. And when we come together in this group, we kind of stop being ourselves because a specific construct of Penta, it does not include many centers that we may have. It includes only 3 centers with 3 energetic flows of energies, and this is what the Penta needs. And this is how the dynamic of the Penta works. And before I studied this knowledge, before I took the course Family Penta, I was not aware of how my family Penta works. I mean, my parents, my sister, and me as a construct, and I have been struggling to prove my worth and to fix everything that I saw as a flaw, but I didn't know what this flaw was until I explored that, because it was the example that I have taken in my practice, and finally I came to the realization what these flaws were. And because whenever you have a kind of flaw that in a Penta it's called a gap, all the attention in this family, in this social group, it's driven to overcompensate, to fill this gap, and everything else, it becomes like invisible or unimportant, instead of becoming aware of what you have, what you don't have, and how to go on with it. And it took me a few years to really feel and grasp the mechanics of how my family works. And I'm not even mentioning their individual not self nature. I am only talking about these gaps. And it led me to accepting what is and stop trying to fix them individually and as a Penta. Because whenever you are in a Penta, you in a way become helpless. You have to understand who you are, what you bring to the table, and who the other people are, and they may be helpless as well. So this is how I perceive that and how I experience the influence of this knowledge in my particular case. And also I have looked at different family pentas of people who came to me with their needs to understand how they operated. And also I had a chance to look at those business pentas that I was a part of. And I could let go of this regrets that I wasn't a perfect match for them, because I'm not a Penta person. It was my experience.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Elena. That's, we take a look at that in, it's interesting that you have both a family penta and then there's also a business penta as well. These group dynamics that, like you said, really take hold, and sometimes it's really easy to lose ourselves within that. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Elena. And Sabina, I'm curious for you, if there's anything that you would like to add about the dynamics of the family field, of the family penta, and how the understanding of this information also helped you personally navigate family dynamics.
Um, Let me put it in a way of a story. I'm a storyteller. So, when someone enters into the human design experiment and we start experiencing our own self, how a generator or a builder might, or an advisor, a projector might, or a manifestor, initiator, or even a reflector might. And that is such an individual journey. And then you reach a point where we start looking at, but why that happened, what do I do about this? And we start looking at these small bits and pieces of what we might categorize as traumas. traumas don't have to be big, you know. For me, going on this journey, I was, following my strategy and authority and going on this journey of education, going through the shattering process of and experiencing my own life. And I never wanted to be a family practitioner. Like, I wouldn't touch this education, this part of the education with a 30 feet pole. But there was this invitation which came in to join the introduction to family Penta at the IHDS. And Dharman and Leela, the educators over there, they take each of those individuals through a really deep journey. It might seem, superficial, but that mechanical understanding which comes in. And all I will say is that I could not actually sit in those classes because it was such a deep, shattering moment for me. I could relate to each of those gaps, as Elena mentioned, in that mechanical transauric penta of my own family, and looking at the helplessness. It brings about something which you can never even imagine. And the blame starts stopping. For me, that is what suddenly, in my own personal experience, was that moment where it was like, this is one of my callings, being a family practitioner. Because if I can resurface out of the sludge of my mind's made up stories, where I was blaming not just myself, but also members of the family who were all helpless in this mechanism, in this group. Maybe, just maybe, someone else can also get this information transmitted through me, and that might help them. And it indeed does. When my clients come in for their they come in as, oh, I just want a family analysis, but then there is so much of process which we family practitioners go through, trying to stay in that narrow lane of, okay, let's look at the mechanics from the no morality side of human design. Let's see it for what it is, the skeleton. It is mind blowing, it is shattering, and it is one of the most profound healing, if I have to use that terminology, which any individual going through a self discovery, self awareness journey needs. And especially this holiday season, every time it comes around, not just the Christmas time, Hanukkah, even Thanksgiving, even Diwali, or name any festivals where there is a gathering, this information holds so much water. It can really free a person. So that's my take on this. And
Wow.
on a very sweet level, I just recalled, how funny is this? The first time Veronica invited me for being a speaker at the festival was, I think so, 2 years ago, and family dynamics was my topic. And this is such a good touching back, because this topic really holds near and dear to me, to my own personal life.
Wow. Wow. And it's really powerful to understand that those dynamics, as you said, when you understand and you're aware of those dynamics, how much healing can take place when you understand what the dynamics are instead of blaming each other or shaming each other or feeling, not worthy yourself. When you recognize those dynamics, you can see that there are things that, in a sense, we're sort of helpless to, that we have to sort of surrender to. So I'm curious for each of you as well. So what are some things, as we, again, we're in the holidays, and as you mentioned that as well, that especially during the holidays, what are some things that we can kind of be aware of? What dynamics tend to activate? Or how does the family, in a sense, understanding it, or just even practically, if you don't even understand it, but what are some things that people can pay attention to during the holidays to start to separate who I am from what the family dynamics are? I hope that question makes sense. Really being able to, again, even if you don't know anything about family Penta, what are some things that people can just watch for to help them distinguish what is me and what's being taken over, if you will, by the family Penta? Would you like to start, Elena?
Yes, I can. I think I can add a little bit because what I thought about actually are two things. First is emotionality, individual emotionality in a design, and if we look at the construct of a penta, we don't have any centers of awareness. We don't have splenic center, we don't have emotional center, we don't have ajna center. It means that if you are emotional and you are not in the best place of your wave, and here we're celebrating Christmas, we need to come here and eat together, and you are not in a mood to eat together. Not everyone can respect that. Not everyone can understand that, because if we are together in this auric connection, it feels like it pulls you in while you are still in the low part of your wave, and it will be detrimental to your body and health to eat when you are not hungry, to eat when you are not in a mood, to be social when you want to take some moments alone. And the next moment is food, of course, because when the family gathers together around the table, they gather together around food. They cook together, they eat together, they share this food together. And in human design, we have individual, even personal nutrition systems that may not be be common for every member of the family. And again, it can be a place, a kind of ground for conflicts and confrontations, or not, if we are aware. But if we are aware, we may be eating separately in different time of days, in different times of the day, in different circumstances, conditions, etc. But this is for me kind of highest level of awareness that can be reached in the aware penta, which is not available to us humans, but it may be potentially available to the aware pentas of raves. So I would point to, if you are emotional, respect your emotionality, because if you feel like you can be open with your family, this is your moment of truth to come together and to be open and to eat. If you are not respected, because the family, they may not feel it this way, and it's not their fault, because the construct of the family penta does not include that, and it's not a part of their direction. Their direction is material, it's not emotional. And with food as well, be attentive to yourself, and pay attention to the way how you take care of your body, because what you put inside and in what emotional circumstances you put it inside, it will influence as well your way of communicating to people, including your penta family.
Wow. Wow, that
Would
is
be my
really
input.
powerful. Yeah. And it's so amazing how, again, we can just get lost in those dynamics, and we feel like we're almost not ourselves. And in a sense, what you just said too, it partially takes away our awareness because we're focused, we're drawn in to the penta, and to really, take a step back and take a look at what we need emotionally, what we need as far as substance goes, can help us remain balanced and then also aware. Really beautifully shared. Thank you so much, Elena.
Thank you.
Yes. And Sabina. Same question. Like how can we be aware when we're with our family, especially, what are some things to pay attention to so that we can be more aware when we're in family gatherings?
So I will bring this a few notches down. If you have just entered, just become acquainted with human design, and you're here today, or later, maybe you're listening to this recording, watching this video, just know this: you are not going to be you in that group. That's the first thing. You are not going to be you. The same old trigger points which you quote unquote suffered, and I'm not being sarcastic, but we call it suffering when we are not aware, which you suffered with your family. Oh, I did not have a voice. Oh, I did not have this. Oh, nobody listened to me. And they keep on asking me, when are you going to have a baby? Or when are you going to go get a job? Or this or that, or this or that. The best thing which you can do is just come back, hold yourself together, take a nice deep breath, and let it pass. Very practically, at that moment, there is, as Elena mentioned, we don't have access to an aware Penta. Since the beginning of time, we have been born, raised up, not just us, but since the beginning of time of humanities, when we were even five centered, we have lived in pentas. Pentas are everywhere. But when it comes to the family and a family gathering, when tomorrow you go drive back home to your mom and dad and your cousins and everybody else, and that same topic shows up, which really gets to your and presses your buttons, give yourself this opportunity to hold back, snapping back, and let them just speak. Because sometimes just being quiet at that table gathers way more attention than anything else. Because
Mm.
this is a passing, is very transitional. What matters is your one on one relationship, which each of those individuals separate and away from that table, separate and away from that crowded kitchen. Focus on that
Mm.
relationship. And as Elena said, come back to, really taking care of yourself and your own alone moments, which, if it's possible, kudos to you.
Yes, beautifully said. I wanted to show a picture of the Penta just really briefly, because we've been talking about how it's not aware. And again, sometimes to bring that awareness, I love what you said, Sabine, is that one-on-one connection and where it can also get lost when there is no awareness in the Penta. So I'm going to just show this image really quickly. And I would love for either of you just to speak a little bit about it. I know you've spoken about it, but sometimes it's easier when you can actually see an image of it. So I don't know if there's something you want to point out. As you can see, right here, there is no awareness functions here if you're familiar with human design. So I don't know if Elena or Sabina, you want to just say a little bit more, just so that we have like a little bit of a visual so that we can see what we're talking about in it not having an awareness.
I wanted to add something to comment to what Sabina said about the
Yes,
voices in
please.
a Penta, because it immediately drew a picture in my mind of this very Penta structure. On the right side, we see this Penta structure consisting of three centers, and here the energy is moving from the bottom, from the sacral, getting to the G center, the place, and then to the throat. We may have a defined throat center in our design, but if we are together with our family and we don't have any of these very channels going through from the G center to the throat, it will feel to our family like we don't have the voice, like we don't have the right to speak. We are not endowed with the proper responsibility of being a leader in the family, of really being able to drive the family into the future. And if we are not aware of that, but due to some circumstances we are put under pressure to do so, it can be so overwhelming, it can be so tense that it may kind of cut us off from the possibility of creating our own family in the future, because of this trauma that is called a trauma in the not self world that we get from our family of birth. This is what I wanted to add.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Elena. And Sabina, anything you would like to add there?
I just enjoy listening to my friend Elena. I don't have much to add to what Elena said, but yes, when you start getting into deeper into the studies and understanding about your own design, and you reach out to one of us family practitioners, and through the guidance and support, you begin to see this illustration, this graphical representation. It gives a whole lot of insight into how this transauric form, or in a very sweet way of saying it, this monster in the room operates or pulls all your like a puppeteer pulls all your threads. So it's really remarkable. uh, Elena gave a really good start specifying the centers, and how it really can pull a person, especially if someone who doesn't have any of those pillars or strengths or channels going towards the throat to either demonstrate or for traditions and discipline, basically expressing for this penta. It can be quite troublesome effect for the not self mind, especially.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Well, I'm going to stop sharing here. And I would love to also open it up for any of you that are here, if there are any questions or anything that you would like to know deeper about the family Penta. And I would also love to hear from Lucretia and Veronica also if there's anything that you want to add. I know, Veronica, you had shared a quote from Ra earlier as well before we got started, which I thought was absolutely perfect when we talk about the Penton family, especially. Would you like to share that, Veronica?
Yeah. I find it actually quite funny, but also so mm, uh, like wise. I would say, like Ra said, if you think you're enlightened, go visit your family. Um, yeah, yeah. And it's so true because, especially for those of us who are for so long in human design, had already the first 7 year cycle, actually, as the people here now, maybe even 2 or 3 cycles. And still, every time I go back to my family on Christmas, and they push all these buttons, because when we met our family, we were completely unconscious. We were babies. And it is so weird because we have such high expectations, especially from our parents. Um, we saw them for the first time when we couldn't do anything by ourselves. We couldn't walk, we couldn't talk. They were faster than us, wiser than us, smarter than us, and we put such high expectations on them, even when we grow older, because you expect them to be those superhumans, and it can be so disappointing at some point when you realize that they're just human, they're not superhuman, they're just human. And then when you start working on yourself and getting wiser yourself, maybe having your own children, you suddenly understand how difficult it was for them. But then you also, every time, you work so much on yourself, you think like, oh, I'm so like centered now and grounded. And then you go back home and you're that little kid again. And it can be painful. It can be really painful to feel, um, because in a way you're limited. Of course, you just explained why. It's not personal, but it's limiting. It's in the Penta, your whole array of gifts is not present. It just disappears. It's limited to only 6 channels. So it can be, um, yeah, quite limiting. And Pluto just came out of the 60th gate, but really, it can be frustrating and, yeah, having to kind of um, just take the penta as it is. And yeah, the best advice is don't take decisions while you're in a penta, and give yourself time to be by yourself, so that you just get grounded. That's
Yeah.
my 2 cents.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Veronica. And I love that quote because again, there's a totally different dynamic that happens. And again, when you can separate, if you will, and all of you have mentioned this as well, separate in a sense what's happening and what you're making it mean, and just enjoy the company, even if, and just enjoy the experience without the mind getting in the way and hearing all of the different stories. I know that's often what I do is like I want to be with family. I want to experience their presence. But watching when those stories, and potentially the traumas come to mind, and not letting them control what I think or what I feel, and just again just return back to neutral, whether you need to step away for a while, or whether you need to eat by yourself, or whether you can just be in the presence and simply just be aware and not take anything personally. Because again, a lot of our original traumas start when we're young, and start in our families, whether those traumas were, put on us intentionally or not. Oftentimes that's innocent things, that our parents or our siblings did that, may have affected us for an entire life, and they may not have even meant it. And so being able to separate and recognize that the penta dynamics operate in a completely different way allows us to also remain a bit more neutral as well. Yeah. I love what you said, Veronica. And anything, Lucretia, that you would like to add, or again, if there's anyone here that is live in our Zoom room, we would love to hear from you as well. And also if you have any questions.
I don't see any question, or just, oh, maybe just one question popped up. If, for example, only one part of the penta, such as the channel which come from gate 2, is absent from a penta, then does that mean the intensity is amplified more than if there are multiple gates channels missing? Oh, I'm so not the person to answer this complex question. I will
So
plug in later on.
yes, yes. So Elena or Sabina, either of you would like to handle that question. So if only one part of the penta, such as the channel which comes from gate 2, is absent from the penta, does that mean it intensifies in that one area more than if there's multiple gates or channels that are missing? How does that work?
I would say that the focus of this penta goes to these two areas because it may go to this whole column of the material direction 214, or it may go to the two separate gates, two separate gaps that that combine in this whole channel. And it will depend on the penta itself, because in some pentas one person can try to compensate for the absence of this energy. In some pentas one person can make someone else to compensate for the absence of this energy and try to make that second person work for that. And if there are multiple gaps, the family penta can potentially feel like there are too many holes that draw your attention in different directions. And they may feel like they are lost, or if they are aware, they may feel like, okay, today we feel like this, tomorrow we will feel like that. It will depend on the penta itself. I can only share my perspective of how they can feel, but it wouldn't be a recipe for anyone.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good point. It depends on the penta, it depends on the people that are a part of it, and it
And how
depends
they
on
experience that.
and how they experience it. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I don't know, Sabina, if there's anything that you would like to add to that.
No, Elena mentioned everything like so perfectly. I don't have anything to add to that.
Beautiful. I'm curious, from your perspective as well, what is the difference, if you have a gap in the family penta and if you don't have a gap in the family penta? So how does it show up if you don't have any gaps in the family penta?
Who needs to answer this question?
Whoever would like to answer it. Would you like to answer it? I would love for you to answer
Well,
it.
I can offer my perspective on that, because I met families with gaps, and I also have a friend who had a family without gaps. So mechanically, you can have this pentagraph without gaps, but it doesn't mean that this family will not have their challenges in terms of relationships, emotionality, confrontations, and you can go on with that. And finally, she got divorced to her husband. Her children live separately because they are adults. And initially, they have a mechanically correct penta without gaps. At the same time, you may have a family with gaps, but they may have such a strong connection between the parents and between parents and children that even though there are gaps, the parents will still remain married to each other, although they may be confrontational, and they may bring a lot of pressure to the children to compensate for these gaps. And the family of Raoul, who was dysfunctional in terms of the gaps, but awareness really helps. And you don't have to take it on lashing out on children or lashing out to each other because you have gaps. You may feel like you are lacking something, but it may not be a problem, because
Yeah.
it doesn't end your life. It doesn't have to negatively alter your life.
Yeah.
And every gap in every area will be experienced differently. I will not go into every of these gaps, because we can stay here forever. So I'm just
Yeah.
giving you the perspective on the general mechanics.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Elena. I don't know if Sabina, if there's anything else you want to add to that.
Uh, I think so. I would say exactly what Elena said with regards to a family penta, which has, all the meat of the matter in there, as well as when it comes to, they have their own challenges, as well as when it comes to pentas, where the dysfunctional pentas, where there are gaps. I can share a small example of my own family. And there is just this one gap in the family of five, me being the youngest. And by the way, I have a completely open G center, and I just have the demands and the world when it comes to what I bring to the table in the penta. But in my family penta, the demonstration, like if you want to pull up the
Mm-hmm.
graph, you can.
Give me 1 second here. Hold on
Yeah.
1 second. All right. Just need to share. Here we go.
Yeah. So when you look at demonstration, that's the gate 8. And this is where 70% of everything of a penta, all the energy goes to, all the material. It's like, I have to show off to the world that my family is the best. We can take care of ourselves, and, all that keeping up with the Joneses thing. And for my family, not having that particular pillar, that having that gap, all the energy and the focus of this family was constantly going over there. And the really cruel thing with our not aware selves, which happens, is we take in whatever happens in that penta, which is not us. We take all of those pressures into our individual lives. And that really colored how each of my family members, including myself, and my not self behavior. And it really not impacted, but influenced my not self behavior. I have to demonstrate to the world that I'm a good daughter. My
Mm.
mom had to demonstrate to the world that she is a great mother. Now imagine that impact, no, not impact, I should say the pressure of just that statement. I have to be the best mother on the block, right? And that whole pressure gets trickled down into into the partnership, into the individual relationships which she had with her kids and with her husband. Like, hey, we have to get the best of the best of the best of the best of the best. Children, you have to be number one. And in India, like I'm from India, and in India, the schooling system is really, you can say, hard-lined, tough. That every penta, every family is just competing to demonstrate they are the best. And there are so many suicides which happen in
Mm.
families, children
Mm.
suiciding because they cannot keep up with that pressure to demonstrate that they are the best. Also, so that the parent who is already feeling that pressure, because remember the penta, the family penta, it's all age related hierarchy. So the parents are trickling that pressure down to their children, and the children, in the worst case scenario, suiciding. And it's all coming from picking up and taking that penta gunk, I would say, of the not self, the not aware mind, which carries with it into the individual life.
Wow.
This is an
Yeah.
example of
Yeah.
having a gap. And this is an example from my own family. Because
Yeah.
many times, if you have heard my interviews, I no longer hide it. I was passively suicidal. And it
Mm.
originated from one of these particular aspects. I could
Wow.
not take the pressure anymore. But then
Mm.
imagine becoming aware of this and giving yourself the grace that, oh, Not only were they helpless, I was helpless. Like, I don't have this.
Mm,
I cannot do this. And it's okay. It's
wow.
totally okay. Giving yourself the
Wow.
grace and freeing yourself from that shackles of that gap. But
Wow.
then it comes with awareness. It comes with
Yeah.
tremendous, I want to say, courage of taking that leap into being accepting that limitation of being human, which
Wow.
human design gives you.
Wow. What a powerful example, Sabina. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it really shows again where we can take on, if you will, the traumas of what the gaps are or the pressures of where the gaps are. And we can take it in very personally. And I think there's another question as well, and then we'll wrap everything up. Do you have the question, Lucretia?
I was wondering how does it plays out when there is only like in the family there is only one penta channel or two, like really few, like really like not a lot. So does the whole attention go to, let's say, all the rest four channels and their teams that are missing, or something else is happening? Just a general question. Elena?
Well, depending on what channel it is, I would say that the family would not have a tendency to stay together for a long time. I mean, while the children are small, they may stay together because they need to take care of their offspring and they need to provide for their education and food and shelter and everything else. But if they have only one channel that is in a lower pentagraph, it will mean that their focus will go there and they will kind of feed from that. If it's only in the upper pentagraph, it means that they don't have too much energy to put into educating children, raising children, but they would try to find some means to demonstrate their traditions and discipline and go into the future.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the children grow up, they may not feel as comfortable and secure at home and will have more tendencies to leave their home and go explore the world.
How
Yeah.
interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. Amazing, amazing. And I think Ben had a question as well. And we'll answer that real quickly and then we will wrap everything up. Let me just see if I can find the question. So Ben had a question in he said, in recent years, when I've been in aura with my family members, it often results in physical injuries and health issues arising from those moments. Could this be my spleen telling me something, or is it possible that I can overcome these circumstances with more aligned behavior? I don't know, Elena or Sabina, either of you would like to take a stab at answering the question?
I can
Elena.
try, but it's difficult to answer the question without seeing a chart. And also, I thought that if Sabina has a defined spleen, it may be more natural for her to tap into this question.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah,
I'm
Sabina.
actually, yeah, I'm actually still trying to understand the question as to because what Ben says is it often results in physical injuries and health issues when he's in aura with family members. So, what's going on? What's the story getting played over there? So I'm still trying to understand that part of the question.
I don't know if Ben, you want to unmute and say anything more?
Sure. Yeah. It's hi everybody. So I mean it's just like it sounds. When I'm by myself, I feel solid. I feel, centered. I'm not injury prone. I'm generally very healthy. I do have a defined spleen, um, for the most part. But then in the past few years, when I spend extended time with family, maybe like more than an hour or two with any family members, including extended family, these like mystery things happen. And it's not a coincidence. It is very reliably happening. Like I go to see my mom, I get, some kind of skin issue. I go to see my dad, I have like like a sprained, like a walking, together in a park, I have a sprained ankle. Very gentle walking. Like
Mhm.
very strange, like unexplainable little injuries and things that can last for months afterwards, just from one meeting in aura. And it's been remarkably consistent, and only with family in the past few years.
What I'm gauging from this, because I don't have your chart in front of me, nor do we have any of your family members' chart, most probably it is just the after effect of getting, what we call it as triggered in that group or in that relationship, which maybe you need to come back to your own strategy and authority as much as possible, moving away and spending less time so that you can really align to your own self. So maybe most of the time our not self mind goes into the distractions from what happened and is so much thinking about what happened, what they said, what she said, he said. Those things can happen. Anything you would like to add, Elena?
Yes, I wanted to say that I had a thought about the G center, because if the person has an undefined G center, the place is quite important. And even if it's a visit to the family, the place may still be wrong. I mean, um, the correctness of place is very, very important, because this is where our magnetic monopole brings us. And in the right place we connect with the right people, right forces, and even if we encounter some kind of mistake, it can be a discovery and a learning lesson for us. Also, whenever we interact with different people, we energetically influence each other, even up to having some kind of falls and sprained ankles and etc. And I'm only touching on the top of the iceberg of how we can influence each other energetically and oracally.
Yeah. Yeah, beautifully said. And again, some of the questions are like so specific, like you said, just looking at someone's design and looking at the design of their family. This is what family practitioners do, is see what those deeper elements are by being able to look at their charts. So, Sabina and Elena, thank you so, so very much. This is really a profound and deep topic, and I think it's really, like you said, important to pay attention and be aware of how we're interacting with our family, what gets triggered when we're with our family, and also how, again, that awareness can move us from our mind, as we've said, no choice. And it's not their fault and it's not our fault. When we see that it's ultimately the mechanics, it also frees us up from making up quote unquote stories that actually throw us off track or can really traumatize the relationships. The more that we can see the stories that have been made up, the more we can also step away from those stories and just let the energy flow and just be the passenger. Just be aware. Both, with the things that get triggered and the things that, ultimately really bring that love and the connection as well. So thank you so much for such a rich, rich conversation. I loved both of your insights. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And to wrap everything up, I would like to turn it over to Veronica and Lucretia again as an invitation to really join us at the festival. Again, we can go into much more depth in the festival, especially in the live aspect of the festival, where we can actually meet and experiment in a sense, it's sort of like a family as well, right? Even though it's not our family of of origin, it's like really connecting as a family in person as well as online. And both Sabina and Elena are going to be speaking on day one, all about relationships for the online festival. And again, I'd love to turn it over to you, Veronica, and Lucretia as well, in just welcoming people into becoming a part of the festival.
I just want to add one thing. It's true and for the family, but for human design in general, it really helps us remove the blame, guilt, shame game. In the family, that's a key because we're not guilty, and the family is not guilty if there is a gap. It just is. It's just mechanical. So, and this is what human design in general helps us to deal with, to get out of this game of blaming and shaming and pointing fingers and finding faults. And I think this is what the festival brings. Um, a wider understanding from all aspects of the mechanics, from all aspects of life, how to just be centered in ourselves and authentic, because the more we accept ourselves with our flaws, with our bad sides, and with our gifts and wise sides, the more accepting we are also to the other. The more we truly love ourselves, and it's not the egoistic love, it's the true accepting love, the more space we have in our hearts and the more love we have towards the other. And I think this is what the festival brings in togetherness, where we can be who we are, share our pains and our joys together with people from all around the globe who speak the same language. Um, and we can just use it as a testing ground to be truly authentic, um, to see how we can become stronger in also outside in the real world. So, guys, if you want to experience that, if you want to give support, receive support, would you like to join the festival online if you cannot make it live in your pajamas or, or in your own pace, watching the recordings afterwards? But we really stimulate you to come live, even if it's online. We have also community space open during the entire festival, where you can get emotional support, just chat with people. And of course, our lovely speakers. We have a wonderful lineup of speakers and lectures, and the second day this time is completely focused on BG5016. And if you can make it live, then it's a real treat you can give yourself to meet us in Aura, where we're just gonna enjoy and share, be together, um, have a lot of fun, a lot of pleasure at times in the four-star spa, and yeah, just receive support in a safe environment. So you're really welcome.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you so much, Veronica. And anything, Lucretia, that you would like to add?
Veronica, you said it so beautifully. Thank you. Well, I just remembered that on each Living Your Design course that I had the privilege to guide to do, there is always at least one person who would say, "Oh, I wouldn't need to actually divorce my partner because they have the new understanding." Honestly, like on each course. And we need, um, even if this festival is for everybody, for people who are brand new to this knowledge, for people who are professionals, for people who are many years experimenting, because we need this reminder of the basics of the human design, and also seeing how it dances together with BG5 and profit potential. Because outside in the world, in our everyday lives, we are bombarded with so many challenges and energies and frequencies and problems to solve and tasks to do. Like it's so busy, and this festival is like to take a breath for yourself and to give you the yourself the pleasure to be with others like you and to really enjoy experiencing and peeling the onion, because our awareness is not like one, oh, I was here, then I was there, and that's that. It's a spiraling journey, and it's always such a pleasure to discover something new and different about yourself and the others. So yeah, we really encourage you to come live and to experience our aura together. It's yeah, what was that advertisement? You can you can buy this and that with no, I forgot. Anyway, it was about Mastercard. But I really love that
So get
ad
out
because
your
it says it all.
MasterCard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, this is what I wanted to say, is like this pleasure that you can experience in many different ways at the festival is priceless. For everything else, there is a Mastercard. And we really kept the prices so low, like maybe a bit too low, but we did that because we want you to come, guys, and to have really a full blast.
And actually, we're having very soon, we're going to announce a new ticket, which will be especially for businesses. So if you have a business team and you would like to come with the entire team, because live and online, we have specifically space for the business and career application of human design. Follow us on our socials and keep an eye on the web because a new group ticket is coming.
Oh, fabulous. Oh, amazing. Yes. And do you still need volunteers as well?
Yes, volunteers are always welcome. There is so much work and so much space for co-creation, new ideas. So you guys are really welcome to join us also as volunteers and help us co-create this event because the festival is only the beginning. We have
Hmm.
such huge ideas with Lucretia and the human design element to bring the basics of human design and BG5 and O16 to
To
1
1
billion
billion
people.
people.
So join us so we can do that. And because maybe somebody in your life right now needs this information to better their relationships, to find a new perspective, a new way, a new focus. Um, and they might really need it. So please also share that the festival is coming, and we would love to see you there yourself and with your loved ones.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Veronica. Thank you so much, Lucretia, for all the work that you're putting into creating this incredible experience. And thank you so much, Sabina and Elena, also for sharing your wisdom with us. And I think again, relationships are really key. They can be both very painful and, create a lot of trauma, and yet at the same time, there's beauty and there's love and there's healing and there's possibilities that we can create together that we can't create as an individual. And so, there's the downside of the quote unquote penta or group dynamics. And there's also a huge upside as well, which we will be exploring both in the online, in person. So if you're looking to how to deal with it, deal with it in a safe space so that you can then take it back to your families. And even online, there's the experience of it, so that you can really step into who you are and co-create with others, still being yourself. So thank you, everyone. This is
Let's
absolutely
celebrate
amazing.
ourselves.
Woohoo! I look forward to seeing you all at the festival. Thank you so much for being here and look forward to seeing you next week as well. So if you want to unmute yourself and say goodbye, we will sign off for today, and we'll see you all next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Bye.
you,
Thank you.
Karen,
Bye-bye.
Sabina, Elena. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Bye.
All right. Stop live stream. And